asked about a lot are sauces. People ask me, you know, can I show them a simple sauce or give them a simple recipe for meat that, you know, is easy to follow and straightforward, but is also really nice. Well, what I want to do is show you a very simple, very easy recipe for pepper sauce. A black peppercorn sauce. Now, of course, you can mix out the sauce with red and green peppercorns, you know, if you want a mild or kick or whatever. But the main ingredients for this are obviously the peppercorns themselves, which you can see here. Now, these are whole black peppercorns. You can, of course, use the pre-cracked peppercorns that you can buy in the shops, but it won't give you the same result. It won't be as good as if you use the whole cracked black peppercorns here. So what are the other ingredients? Well, you're going to need a small onion finely diced. You're going to, this is Irish whiskey. It's optional. I like it in the sauce. You can, of course, you don't need to use whiskey. You can use brandy. And of course, you can omit the alcohol completely if you want. But I like it. So as I said, it's optional. Now, the other thing that you need is some balsamic vinegar. If you don't have balsamic, you can use ordinary red wine vinegar. You need some cream, and of course, you need the brown sauce, which is the main ingredient in the pepper sauce, obviously. You can, of course, use a packet bought you know, gravy that is a self-thickener, something along the lines of, I don't know, Bisto or whatever the case may be, whichever one you like. But you do need it, and as I said, you do need it relatively thick, as you can see here. Now you can use this with beef, you can use this sauce with steak, you can use it with chicken. It's a very versatile sauce. You can even use it with fish if you want. So let's get into it. Let's show you the main way to get this prepared and quickly. So first thing that I want to do is I want to dice up the onion. So what I'm going to do now is I'm just going to dice the onion. We want it nice and fine. So obviously, if you haven't seen the videos on how to dice an onion, just go take a quick look at those. So nice and fine. And I don't even need the whole onion here. I'm actually only going to use half the onion. So the principle is that we're going to sweat off the onion here, and then we're going to add in the peppercorn into the pot and add in the vinegar, make a reduction, and then what I'm going to do is I'm going to add in the alcohol just before I add the demi-glace here that I have prepared. So look, that's the onion ready there. Now, next thing is the peppercorns. Now, not everybody has a spice grinder or whatever, and to be honest with you, even using a spice grinder can make a too fine of a job on this. So what we do in the kitchens is we take out the right amount. Now, what is the right amount? It depends, of course, on how peppery you like your sauce. For a single person, a single portion, about a teaspoon of peppercorns is plenty. Now, how do we crack these open? Because you don't want to use them like this. So what you need to do is you need to crack them. Let me show you a very straightforward way that's used kitchens all over the world. Get a pot, a standard pot, okay? And what you want to do is put the base of the pot down onto the peppercorn and push forward. So you're cracking the peppercorns in a motion like that, alright? So bring the peppercorns back in that you haven't cracked. Do the same principle again. Now, there's nothing, you know, there's nothing refined about this, there's nothing elegant about it, but it gets the job done. That's the main thing. So, as you can see here, these peppercorns are cracking open, and you'll understand the difference what I'm saying to you about the bought pre-cracked pepper and doing this. The results that you get, they're like night and day. Two different sauces altogether. And of course, the reason why you actually heat the peppercorn is that, like any spice, if it's roasted, it improves. So that's exactly what we're going to do with this, is roast them in the pan. So now, there you can see the peppercorn is nice and cracked. Let me just give you a quick zoom on that. Now you can see here, as I said, there's the peppercorn nicely cracked. So next stage is to get the onions in, sweating into a pot, and right, let's get started on this. I just want to put a little tiny drop of oil in, and I also want to throw a little knob of butter in there as well. Why am I putting the butter in? Well, I want to be able to reach the high temperature with the oil, but I also want the richness of the butter to go into the sauce as well. So the first thing in, obviously, is sweat off the onions. Now you don't have to use an onion here if you don't want to. Of course you can use a shallot. I'm just using an onion for convenience sake. Why? Because I don't have any shallots. So let's get these sweating off a little bit. And when we have sweated them down a wee bit, then we're going to add in the peppercorns. Now the reason that we're going to add in the peppercorns at a later stage is that, as I said, I want these to come down a little bit first. I want these to sweat down a little bit, soften up a little bit. So I'll bring it back when I'm adding in the peppercorns. Right, these have now sweat down and they're beginning to get nice and soft. Next thing to do is to add in the peppercorns. Now, it's like I said to you before, when you roast any spice, it's going to improve. Now I'm roasting it here in the oil and the butter, and immediately what happens is, as soon as that pepper hits the heat and hits the oil, you begin to get the aroma of the peppercorn coming up to you. It's fantastic. Now there is a stage that I'm going to let this go on to, and I'll show you what to look for in regards to know when everything is ready to add in the remaining ingredients. So at this stage, all that's happening is that these peppercorns, as you can see here, are sweating off nicely. Nothing major so far, nothing difficult about that. Right, now we are at the stage where I'm talking about here. Now you can see that the peppercorns are starting to change, go a little bit, a little bit golden brown, and that's exactly what we want. And also as well, the aroma has intensified dramatically, so you can actually smell the peppercorns coming up here. So what's the first thing to do? The first thing to do is to add the vinegar. I'm going to add all that vinegar in. How much vinegar is there? There's about a soup spoon there. Now, I advise you, when you do this, step back, because the kick of the aroma and the peppercorns will definitely clear the sinuses. If you've got a cold and you want your sinuses cleared, do this. So we've got this reducing down there. It's becoming syrupy, as you can see here, nice and syrupy. Next thing to do with this is I'm adding in the whiskey now at this stage, so that's going in there. Now I want to give this a little bit of a flame on, so let's just get this quickly flamed. There we go. So just let the alcohol burn off relatively quickly. Alcohol burnt off. Now, next thing to do is to add in the gravy. The brown sauce, as I had said. Add that in. Now I want this to come up to a little bit of a boil before I add in the finishing touches to it. So just let that cook off there a wee bit, and you can also at this stage as well, when it begins to come up to the boil, you can check it out for seasoning, and always remember to season your sauces. So I'm just going to let this come back up to a boil here nice and slowly. Okay, so now the sauce is just about ready. I'm going to add in the cream now. Now the one thing about pepper sauce is that it's a fairly decadent sauce. It needs to be rich, creamy, so you can add cream to it, and you can also add some butter to it just to add the extra richness, and also as well to give it a little bit of a shine. But what I'm going to do anyway is I'm going to add some of the cream. I'm not adding all of it. I'll show you why in a little while, because I'm going to cook a steak and add some sauce to the residual juices that build up in the pan, and I'm going to finish it off with a little bit more cream. But anyway, this is the colour that you should be looking for. It's like a mahogany. You don't want it, the sauce should have a nice brown, light brown colour. You don't want it to be a dark sauce, completely dark. As I said, adding the cream will bring up the colour in it. Now this is pretty much ready, and the only thing that I want to do now is let this cook out for about another 5 to 10 minutes on a low heat. As you can see here, it's not boiling up here dramatically, it's just slipping over here. So it's simmering away. Let's leave this for another 5 to 10 minutes. Let's crack on with the steak, and I'll show you what I'm talking about in regards to adding some of the sauce into the pan to collect the juices. Fillet steak here in the pan, and if you saw the other videos that I did in regards to the different stages of cooking, I can tell you now that this fillet steak here is at the medium rare stage. Now I'll show you again what I'm talking about in regards to knowing the different stages. Don't use a meat thermometer on something this small. Use a meat thermometer on something like a roast, a large roast or a turkey, but not on something like this. It's too small. Learn to understand what the touch and feel of something like this is in regard to where it is, at what stage it's cooked. If it's rare, medium, medium well or well done, or even blue. So you can see here now that this steak is coming along quite nicely, and as I said, it's at the medium rare stage now. I'm just about to take this off and let it rest, and I'm going to deglaze the pan then with some of the pepper sauce. Of course I am using a little bit of oil and butter in the cooking. And don't be afraid to baste, as I've said before. The reason that we baste is to help retain moisture in the item that's been cooked in the pan. Don't be afraid to baste, alright? And as I said before, what I'm using here now is the same combination of a little bit of oil and butter, as you can see. Now, quick check of where this meat is at this particular stage. And okay, that's nicely medium rare now at this stage, alright? So let's take this off, let's put it on something for rest, and let's get the sauce going. The steak is now off. I want to pour off a little bit of the excess oil that's in this. Not at all, just a little bit. And what I'm going to do now is I'm going to add in the pepper sauce. Now you can see what I'm talking about, why we deglaze the pan. If I bring you in closer here, you can see exactly what I'm talking about. Can you see the residual juices that have begun to caramelize on the pan, that have actually caramelized on the pan? This is why we deglaze a pan. Why? Because all that's additional flavor. So we want that flavor to go into the sauce. So let's get some of the sauce into the pan now. Okay, so now that's the sauce nicely deglazing the pan. I don't need to add any butter to this. Why? Because there is some residual butter left in the pan, if you remember, from the cooking that we did. But what I do want to do is add in a little drop more cream. And I just want to get that around in the sauce there. You can see the sauce is beginning to change colour. I just want to take that back up to a boil. The sauce, bring it back up to a boil, and I'm putting it in a sauce boat. So I'm at the stage of ready to pour it into the sauce boat, which isn't too far away now, and serve the steak up. I'll bring you back then. Here's our sauce. Now I just want to put a little bit of this onto the plate before I plate up with for the fillet steak, and I want to pour the remaining sauce into the sauce boat here, because we're just going to serve this on the side and let people add as much pepper sauce as they want or don't want. So like I said before, this is a very easy dish to do. The complicated part in it is getting the steak right in regards to the cooking. And that's it really. There is your fillet steak cooked medium rare with a side of pepper sauce. Like I said before, nothing hard about it. Maybe a little bit of practice in getting used to crushing the corns with the pot, but trust me with this one, you're going to like this sauce. It's easy. Try it, you're going to enjoy it. See you next time.